Welcome back to the Homeschool Advantage podcast. I'm your host, Bex Buzzy. Today we have Amy Villeda, CEO and founder of Piano Lessons with Amy Villeda, a virtual piano lesson platform. Amy is mother of 6, a group fitness instructor and piano teacher. Coming from a musical family, she began to learn piano when she was 7 years old. She also graduated in 2005 from Dixie State University with a degree in teaching. After graduating, she spent some time traveling the world and seeking adventure. She has many years of teaching experience, both abroad and domestic, and she loves teaching piano and helping students discover a passion for music. Today on the podcast, we talk about the importance of parent involvement in their child's education, how daily practice offers immediate results, and accountability makes a difference in mastery. We also discuss how music fosters critical thinking and discipline that no other subject can facilitate. She talks about how there is so much freedom in homeschooling for extracurricular activities. We talk about the most important thing in adding music to your child's classical education are the benefits cognitively and in math. Go grab your coffee, go grab your tea, and a pen and paper, because you're not going to want to miss what Amy has to say. Let's get into the podcast. Welcome to the Homeschool Advantage podcast. I'm your host, Bex Buzzy, and today we have Amy Villeda, CEO of Your Virtual Piano Lessons. Amy, say hello to our listeners and tell us one thing you feel most don't know about homeschool.
Hey guys, I'm glad to be here. One thing I think people don't realize about homeschool is how much freedom there is. When you take away all the fluff and wasted time, I guess you could say, at school, you have so much time to cover all the curriculum you have, with so much time left over for extracurriculars, sports, music lessons, fun stuff. We go play basketball every day. My kids do cooking. There's just so much extra time.
That's amazing. So Amy, I did a little bit of research before I got on with you, and I learned a lot about the benefits of music. And I want to just share some of that. And I would love for you to talk about how your curriculum and your program really touches on those things. So there's a lot of cognitive and educational benefits that happen in both teens and toddlers. So
yes,
the one thing I learned was for cognitive in teen students who take music in the middle school, they score significantly higher in algebra assignments.
Yes.
Than their non-music counterpart. That was very fascinating. And so in education, toddler research reveals strong connections between rhythmic skills and pre-reading abilities in toddlers. Also, for cognitive toddler, music enhances fine motor skills or the ability to use small acute muscle movements to write, use a computer, perform physical tasks. And
absolutely.
then the educational aspect of teens with the music program, which unfortunately the public school has, not all of them, but a huge majority have taken music out of the school system, which I think is crazy because these stats say so much. This one says educational teens with the music program have an estimated of a 90% graduation rate and a 94% attendance rate, apart from their counterparts with no music education, which drops down to a 72% to an 85%, which is a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
And the last thing I got was, and this was from the U.S. Department of Education on teens, that on more than 25,000 secondary school students found that students who report consistent high levels of involvement in instrument music over the middle and high school years show a significantly higher level in mathematics proficiency by senior year. Those are some powerful statistics.
Yes, you could fill whole journals full of articles on the benefits of musical education.
Yeah. So I know you're one of those teachers who is super passionate about teaching the actual techniques in music
Yes.
and making sure that it's understood and that children can actually appreciate. And literally, you have had some students who've gone on to do great things in music. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. Well, when parents ask me about my program, I always tell them, if your student is taking piano lessons because they have a specific song in mind that they want me to teach them right away, then this isn't going to be the right fit. I tell them that's what YouTube is for, and that's fine. That
Yes.
Not everybody needs
Right.
to come to me, but if they just want to learn a specific song, I say, oh, just go watch how to do that on YouTube. With my lessons, my program, they're going to be learning note reading, music theory, rhythm. And then when they have all those basics down, that's when we can start incorporating some of the songs that they would like to learn.
So why do you like doing it like that? 'Cause I've heard of so many other musicians, or I guess music teachers or classes. They're like, oh, I will just teach them the songs, and they can learn everything after. I know you have rhyme and reason, no pun intended, but you have a rhyme and reason as to why you do what you do.
Right. I just feel like with my knowledge and expertise, they don't need me if they just want to learn a song. The things I can offer them, I have clearly laid out into a very organized curriculum. And when it's followed, the students are very successful. Like you said, they've gone on to win competitions and play in front of audiences.
Yeah. You're a musician, right?
I am.
Nice.
Yes. So over the years, I have just come to, tweak my methods and curriculum in a way that I just have it laid out really well. And if you follow the program, it works, and it works very well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you've taught both abroad and domestic. Is that correct?
I have not piano, but I have taught English in Italy and Peru.
Wow. Wow. That's really awesome. Have you learned any? I'm sure you probably did, but I'm just going to ask anyways. Like when you're in these different places, these different countries, did you like learn a little bit of their music as well, like through the culture?
I actually was involved in a folkloric dance competition down in Peru. So I got to experience all that awesome culture of the costumes and the elaborate dances. And they're really, really big on that. I compare it to the way Americans are with football, how crazy we get about that. They are really into their music and dance. And it was amazing. And Italy, obviously, there's so much history, art history, and musical history there. And so yeah, I was able to experience that as well there.
Wow, that's really cool. So you're a mom of 4.
Six.
Group 6 now.
6.
You're a mom of 6. Wow.
Yeah.
Piano teacher. You come from a musical family, and you started learning piano when you were about 7 years old?
7, correct.
Oh my goodness. So you've been doing this practically all your life.
Correct. Yep.
Oh man. So what was your inspiration to start, this virtual piano lesson? 'Cause I found it honestly fascinating when I found it on the internet. I was like, this is amazing. I need to know more about it.
No, thank you. I think it's amazing too, if I do say so myself. I taught traditional, 30-minute weekly piano lessons for years and years, and it went fine. I had success, and of course you have students that don't follow through, and that's just normal. But the same issues kept coming up year after year, and I just wanted a way to address these issues. One of the big ones was that a lot of parents, and no judgment here because I do this with gymnastics, we want a half hour to drop the kids off and go, and I'm gonna sit on my phone or run some errands or whatever because we need breathers too. And a lot of parents did that, and so there wasn't much parent involvement with the lesson. The parent wasn't aware of what I taught, and so when the child went home to practice, the parent wouldn't know if the child was practicing incorrectly or what they were supposed to be practicing. And so with the program I have developed, Your Virtual Piano Lessons, it kind of requires the parent to sit and watch the lesson and be close by, if not sitting with the student while they practice, so they know if there's mistakes being made. So that was one big issue. I mean, and 7-year-olds, they're 7. They need some more guidance at home, more than just a half hour of lesson and then turn them loose for a week. Another issue was that I would send a student home not really sure how much they were going to remember. 30 minutes is a long time for a 7-year-old to sit. So who knows how much they actually internalized and remembered, or maybe even if they misunderstood something. So oftentimes a student goes home from their weekly piano lesson and either forgets what was taught or misunderstood and practices incorrectly for an entire week. And then they have to come back. That same material has to be retaught. So they have to unlearn what they learned and then relearn it correctly. And then I send them home for another week and hope they do it correctly. And so that's a whole wasted at least 7 days there. And what that does is causes frustration, because the student, if they practice and they come back and then I'm like, oh, okay, except we got to do it this way, they lose motivation. So they lose the motivation to practice, which slows or stops their progress. And when they don't see progress, then they want to quit. And so that was another big issue. So with the lessons I've developed, we have a video messaging app that the student records themselves just a short little video for me every day, so I can see what they worked on and I can respond that very same day and let them know if there's any adjustments that need to be made. And that way we're not wasting any time. There's no practicing wrong for a week and then having to reteach, unlearn, relearn, and wasting all that time. And the student sees quick progress, which increases their motivation, which makes them practice harder. They have the video lesson. I send it to them. And so if they watch it and then they forgot something, they just go back and rewatch the lesson. Or if there's something that I need them to correct, I can sometimes just quickly do it on the video lesson, or I can say, go back to your lesson and rewatch from minutes 12 to 15 and then redo this and send it back to me. And it's been very effective for the kids to progress quickly.
Wow, that's a great feedback process. That is awesome. And lots of accountability there. That's really good, because when it comes down to like music, math, I keep thinking back at math, those things need to be practiced on it every day. And foreign language too, it needs to be practiced on it every day, or any kind of language really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
your videos,
in addition to all the cognitive benefits, it also teaches them discipline and hard, consistent work.
Oh, for sure. And then the critical thinking skills and where they're going to go and how to create even pieces as they get older, right? Like in different, correct. Oh, wow. That's really awesome. And your videos kind of will form like a tutorial for them for like future reference.
Correct. Yep.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So let me ask you, do you go by ages or do you go by levels?
Not really either.
Okay.
I have the curriculum laid out and it's what it is. So everybody starts on lesson 1.
Okay.
And if you're a beginner, it's going to take you, it could be 2 to 3 weeks to complete that lesson. And that's normal.
Okay.
If you are, 12, 13, 14, you're going to finish that lesson in a day because it's very simple. And then we go on to the next lesson.
Gotcha. Can you take me through like what one lesson would look like? Parent was purchase your program. What would the lesson 1 look like?
Sure. And parents can contact me and I'll show them a lesson for free as well.
Oh, awesome.
So it starts out with the objectives clearly stated. They're listed right there on the screen. In this lesson, we will be learning these notes on the staff. We will be learning to count this kind of rhythm with this kind of note and this vocabulary word, and then we'll learn these 3 songs. So we know exactly what we're trying to do this lesson. And then I go through each of those objectives. If there's new notes to learn, I show them the note, a slide of the note and where it is and how to find it. If we're learning new rhythm, I'll count the beats out as I point to the beats and they'll see how to do it. And then after, when it's time to learn the songs, I put the song up on the screen. We look at different elements of the song. There's things like key signature, time signature. These might be foreign this might be foreign language to some, which is fine because I teach all of that from the very beginning. Different dynamics, playing loud, soft, repeating, things like that. We sit down and look at the piece, and then they see my hands playing it as I'm pointing to each note, so they know right where I am. And then at the end of the lesson, I show them a practice chart that they will print off, so it's all exactly lined out. You exactly how to practice and exactly what to practice every day, and they'll check it off as they go, and then they'll send me a Marco Polo video. That's the name of the app, the video messaging app that I used each day when they practice. There's also worksheets to go with each lesson to review theory concepts or vocabulary or note reading, things like that.
Awesome. Wow. Yeah, music is a kind of a foreign language for sure.
Yes.
Because you have to learn all these new terminologies. I remember when I went to school for music, I was like, whoa, all this new. And when I was learning all the new terminology, I really found it fascinating. I did feel like my mind was expanding and open. Like I physically felt I was growing in understanding things. It was a very interesting feeling when I was learning music. It really was.
It kind of unlocks a new part of your brain.
Yeah, exactly. You couldn't have said it better. That's exactly what it felt like. Another part of my brain was being unlocked, and it felt brand new again. And I was older. I was like, I think I was 40 when I went to back to school for music, and it really kind of just brought me back, and I really felt like a rejuvenation. It was a really interesting 2 years of learning, so it was really cool. And one of my favorites was music theory, and it was full of math, and I can really see why math gets the benefit of a child learning music. So now that we know that, we've been talking about the public school system has taken out, a lot of electives, one of them being music because of budget cuts and things like that. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about how, what you feel about that? Like what are your thoughts on that, and what parents could potentially do to supplement that, and the importance to supplement music in their child's life, even if it's not going to be something that they're going to do forever?
Right. One of my favorite things about homeschooling is how well-rounded the children who homeschool are, because like you said, they're cutting music. My kids' school here before we pulled them had cut PE, and there hasn't been art there in years, and they justify it saying, well, you have to learn to read and write, but you can survive without PE or without music. Well, you can, but not very well. You're just going to be so much more well-rounded, like I said, if you have access to those things. And so I just feel very passionate that everybody's life is better when they have easy access to music. And I know there's others who are that passionate about art, which isn't my thing, but that's why I outsource my kids' art education. And same with exercise. Like, your life's just going to be so much better, and kids need to have access to just to consistent programs that the schools just can't offer anymore.
And I love what you just said, you outsource. So that's a big, huge thing that I absolutely love about homeschool, is that you don't have to find everything in one spot. You can absolutely outsource. And let's say you even have your child in the public school system, but you want to add that supplemental music. You can do that with things like your virtual lessons with, Amy. And learning this can still build that part of that brain, because I get what they're saying. Kids can't live without reading and math in life. But honestly, when a part of your brain is dormant, which is the creative part of your brain, it also stifles all the innovation that's possible that would be able to bolster that reading and those math. That's why it all comes together, and it is so beautifully holistic, because they do work hand in hand. It's kind of like
that's
saying,
why we see those increased scores and cognitive abilities in kids with exposure to music.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of like saying, I don't need my pinky toe. I can survive with the other four. Sure you can, but then your balance is off. So
Right.
it's all very much intertwined and connected. I love that. So as we're wrapping this up, what is one thing you want families or parents to take away from our conversation today?
Just that this is an option that I created for families that just traditional lessons weren't the best option. If your 30-minute traditional in-person lessons are working for you and your student loves them and they're progressing, that's awesome. Go with it, because however the kids get the music education is fine. We need it. Everyone, they need it. So that's great. This is an excellent option for the parents who say, I'm too busy, I can't get into a lesson, or there's nobody close by, or they're too expensive, or it wasn't a good fit with the teacher, my student wasn't understanding, other things like that. On my website, I have a link you can click that takes you through a few questions to see if the lessons are a good fit for you. If you need that 30 minutes where you just drop your student off and they do their lesson and that works for all of you, that's awesome. That's great. If you want something a little bit different with a little more accountability, where you know exactly what your student is learning and what they should be learning and you're able to be involved, then I think my program would be the way to go. If you were previously with a teacher that you really liked the books that he or she used and their methods, and you want to stick with that, then absolutely stick with that, because my curriculum it's very different than a traditional curriculum, and your student might have trouble adjusting, they might not, but if you're really set in the way your teacher's doing it, that's totally fine. Stick with it, just stick with it.
Yeah.
I just want people to have a musical education because it's so important. And so this is just one option I put out there for people who those traditional lessons weren't a good fit for.
So do you have any students who went on to win those musical competitions and everything?
Sure. There's two. And one was a little guy, he had ADHD.
Oh, wow.
And his mom just didn't know what to do with him. And he came to me and she said, let's just try this. And they're actually local, and so she wanted to do in person. And I said, let's just give this a try, especially with the low attention span. He can watch 5 minutes of the video this day and practice for 5 minutes, and that's it. And it doesn't even have to be at the same time. He could watch the video in the morning for 5 minutes and then practice later. And she was reluctant because it's a different method. But he absolutely just took off, excelled. He loved sending me videos every day. He was so excited. Miss Amy, look what I learned, look what I can do now. Just was so happy to get my messages back, and he just absolutely took off. And that's not to say that every student who practices every day is going to reach that level. There just like with athletics, there's students with innate abilities. But even if you're not destined per se to win competitions, you're still going to get the benefits of the musical education and learning the discipline, and just like you still get benefits from exercising, even if you're not going to make it to the NBA.
True. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, and also with a child with ADHD, music probably really touches those parts of his brain or her brain that would probably calm him down and bring them into like a state of flow a little bit, you know what I mean, where they can actually get out all that energy in a musical way. That's
Correct.
really cool. Yeah. I have a little bit of attention deficit disorder and I get it out through like drawing and music, and I sing. So those, I've been very like in the arts area. So for me, that's exactly where I have to go to relax. Like
Right.
just
Yeah.
to,
It can be an outlet.
yeah, it absolutely is. I love that. Awesome. So what is the call to action? Where can they find you? Where can they get your program? Where can they find that one free lesson where they can try it out?
Yeah, so you can email me. It's yourvirtualpianolessons@gmail.com. And then I also have a website that I think will be linked here with the podcast. You can just click
Yes.
on that. All the information is there. My contact information, a registration form, anything you need there. And my email's on there. So you could just shoot me an email. We can chat on the phone, whatever's easiest.
Awesome. Amy, thank you so much for today.
You're welcome.
It was awesome spending
Thank
time
you.
with you and just learning more about you and what you do. And I'm so glad I got a chance to even learn a little bit more about the different statistics on music and how it really just opens up children's brains, adults, teens, and it is fascinating. So thank you again. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom. You've been listening to the Homeschool Advantage podcast, where you get the scoop on all the latest vendors that fit your lifestyle. Thanks for listening. Also, follow me wherever you listen to your podcast to stay up to date on the next episode. You can also visit my website where the episodes will be, and for my free lesson plan course, which can help you if you have different vendors and you're wondering, how do I make them all flow together? Let me help you with that. And if you're a vendor and you think you would like to be on the podcast, send me an email, realedtalk@gmail.com. Leave me your name, contact, website, and I'll get back to you. Thanks for stopping in with me, and I'll see you on the next time.